Ora do la parola ad Anna Gogola, ingegnere trasportista di Patrasso, esperta in progettazioni di reti ciclopedonali, che ci relazionerà su altre esperienze di mobilità ciclistica maturate attraverso altri progetti comunitari. Anna Gogola è anche la responsabile del comitato scientifico di questo convegno, per cui, ed è colei che ha anche organizzato, sta anche supportando insieme alla società che ha vinto l'appalto per l'organizzazione degli eventi a Brindisi a Patrasso, Orange Public Management, che sta collaborando con la Regione Puglia. Anna Gogola sta collaborando per l'organizzazione in loco a Patrasso del convegno che si terrà il 27 di novembre.
Buongiorno, grazie per l'invito. I would like to present another European project that is called Cycle Cities. And Cycle Cities is an acronym. It stands for European Cities for Integrating Cycling within Sustainable Mobility Management Schemes. It is an Interreg 4C project with a 36-month duration and a budget of 1.6 million euros. The consortium includes 8 partners for 7 different EU members. The municipality of Piraeus, Greece, is the leader partner. London Borough of Merton, UK, Municipality of Genoa, Italy, Lisbon Municipality, the City of Gdansk, Malgorzata is our co-partner. Regional Development Agency of Gorenska from Slovenia is the 6th partner. The region of Leipzig, Denmark, and finally the National Technical University of Athens from Greece. I am a researcher cooperating this partner for a Cycle Cities project. Motivation for this project was some data that we all know, that half of all trips in urban areas in Europe are less than 5 kilometers, that cities' role is dynamic in policy making, and that cycling needs support in order to become from a nice, exotic for many, maybe, solution of daily urban transportation into a basic element of city's character and function. So that's the ambition for Cycle Cities. To make a long story short about what Cycle Cities aims for, I would like to point out that it aims to enable local authorities and experts who are into the business of promoting cycling in order to actually do that, succeed in promoting cycling. And how to succeed? By persuading authorities and policymakers and experts to implement some good practices like the ones we heard today. In order to define a good practice, first of all, you have to know what is a good practice. Some years ago, any example, any action, any initiative that a city would take was considered as a good practice. And whoever was interested in implementing ideas just had to copy and implement. But nowadays, with so many projects going on and with so many data available from internet, it's not that easy for consultants and for policymakers to decide which good practice is the right one for the characteristics of their city or for the objectives that they set for the model split, for example. That's why in Cycle Cities focus on providing a methodology to identify and collect this knowledge, these good practices that we all need, and provide guidelines in order for policymakers and experts to adjust these experience in their own cities. Based on the definition of good practices in the program manual of Interreg 4C, we see that a good practice is a methodology, a project, a process, a technique, a measure that's been already proven successful. And this means that it had at its description some aims, some objectives that could be that were measurable, And after implementing the good practice, we see that the results that we have accomplished this target set. The methodology, the outputs that cycle cities will develop involves methodologies in collecting and identifying good practices on land use planning, mobility management strategies, and I believe that we heard a lot of good ideas about mobility management strategies today, cities' participation strategies for reshaping urban mobility, and cycle infrastructure architectural designs. Also, we are collecting data from existing cities' bike sharing system to compare them to compare them. Some definitions about what kind of methodologies we're looking up are land use planning, which is actually a collection of law in order to redevelop land and plan the cities. Mobility management strategies, which is demand-oriented approach involving soft measures, which in many cases they are proven to be more effective in changing people's state of mind compared to hard measures such as infrastructure. Participation strategies, and here we are interested in top-down approach. That means that how the authorities should invite community and stakeholders and NGOs and cyclists to participate in planning about the promotion of cycling. Cycling infrastructure, I'm sure that we all know. And finally, bike sharing systems, the automated self-service network of stations where you can take a bike for a short trip. The methodology we have developed at the National Technical University of Athens consists of three stages. The first one is a desk research. We're looking up information from previous projects relevant to cycling promotion and in databases involving good practices in order to identify, say, a big initial sample of good practices. And in order to, for the second stage, to communicate with the good practice providers, with the authority or the specialist who has implemented the good strategy, in order to send them a questionnaire asking questions, asking for description of the good practice and about the results of it. The final step, the final stage, C, involves the analysis of the case studies collected and their assessment. So I will present some tables here about each type of methodology collected. It's organized in columns. The first desk research for land use planning, the first stage, which is the desk research, involves research in previous related projects such as Your Bike, PIMS, Tracker, Flipper, Max, etc. Thematic networks as Bloom, and databases such as a POM, LTIS portal for mobility, PIMS transfer. The good practices that we collect from there, at the second stage, we will communicate with interviewees who may be field experts or policymakers or urban planners, staff from the municipalities, etc. And we will send them a 4-section structured questionnaire that involves a section for personal data, the case identity, a brief description of the case study, needs and objectives of the case study, and the assessment of the final results. Last stage involves the analysis, and the evaluation criteria is the effectiveness of the good practice in succeeding the target set, its impact, and the overall contribution in integrated land use and transport planning, which is very important in order to reshape and reorganize the functions of the cities. The second kind of methodology is mobility management strategies. And this research here involves Project Civitas, which was one of the most successful projects in the last frame period. And the online databases of POM and ELTIS, which have more than 1,000 good practices collected there. The interviewees for this case is again experts and policymakers, academics and research, as well as authorities, bodies, scientific, professional, administrative, any kind of authority implemented in such kind of measures. The questionnaire, again, has 4 sections, and it's the general info, the descriptive information of the good practice, its assessment, and extra data that the interviewee may consider that are needed in order to describe the measure, the strategies. Since mobility management strategies in many cases involve campaigns, this is the section where someone describes and attaches all the necessary data. The evaluation criteria is, again, the effectiveness of the good practice, the transferability to different geographical places and different scale, different cities, in the rest of Europe. And the third criteria is innovation, defined in 2 ways. Innovation in a local level, because a good practice may be new in a country. Bike sharing is new for Greece, but it's not new and innovative for Vienna, for Germany, or for Holland. Or a good practice could be innovated in a general level. It could be something new for everybody. E-bikes are new, or cyclo-logistics is an innovative good practice. The third methodology is about cities' participation strategies, and this is very important because we have to include users and we have to include NGOs and cyclists in all stages of the procedures of planning and implementing the good strategies, because it's a common place, it's a common scope, and we all can benefit from cooperation during planning and implementing. Desk research, again, involves projects as OBs and thematic networks as Intelligent Energy Europe, who has supported many projects. And again, the famous big databases that have collected many good cases from all over Europe. Interviewees in this case are project coordinators, policymakers, liaison officers, that's the people who stand between the authority and the public and coordinate the participation. And participants, of course, cyclists, NGOs, stakeholders, whoever is involved. Again, the questionnaire has 4 sections. Personal info and contact data of the interviewer, the city's profile, needs and objectives, and the assessment from the authority who implemented the good practice. The evaluation criteria in this case are the level of public engagement, the variety of participants according to sex and age group and profession and mobility habits. We hope to find a big variety of different kind of stakeholders included in participating in this kind of procedures. The impact of the proposals in the quality of the project, some technical characteristics about the level of innovation in respect with the mentality of the habitants, and of course the social acceptance of the project at the end. The survey about the bike sharing systems, again, comes from data research, and the survey addresses to city transport officers and tourism officers, representatives, operators, bike sharing system operators of the cities. And again, it's 4 sections involving contact data and the bike sharing users' opinion and citizen, their attitude, the cost, the initial cost of the service and the infrastructure and the economic results during the operational, and impacts and prospects for the future. The analysis is comparative between the data that we're going to collect from each city and from each bike sharing system. In the folder you were given this morning during registration, you will find this form. I would like to explain why I have submitted this form to you. We are interested in collecting, as we said, good practices. So if any of you identify yourself in any of the roles of the interviewees, or you identify projects that your city or yourselves or the authority body you represent has been participating, we would like you to fill in the gaps, fill in your personal info, your personal, your name and your authority and position and contact data. Tick or write an X in the category of good practice that you suggest to us to investigate. And if you can, at the third section over here, the good practice data, if you can, this section, if you can describe, give us the title and short description, and what other relevant data you think that will help us in our survey. Finally, we need the city, the region, and the country that the good practice was implemented. Cycle Cities, as I mentioned before, is a consortium of eight members from 7 different countries. We have a website, is www.cyclecities.eu. It's a multilingual site over here. It's Italian as well, since Genoa is a member of the consortium. You will have the ability to subscribe yourself in order to receive data and newsletters that we send to our subscribers. And also, we are in Twitter. You can find the page from here, from the page of the official page of the project. You can be transmitted into our Twitter account. So we ask you to follow us on Twitter. We have already published 2 newsletters. They have been uploaded in the website. You can download them. They come in all languages supported by the project. And there's going to be more, so if you subscribe, you're going to get the newsletter in your email address. And finally, we have prepared 2 videos addressing to different target groups. The first one addresses adults, I may say, and the second one addresses children. Both are following the same concept, that changing the mobility and changing the urban environment and changing the quality of life in the cities that we live has to do with personal change, a change of attitude, a change of state of mind concerning the choice that we make every day for our commuting, for our daily trips. So I would like to show you the video. I think that I totally agree with Mrs. Vasilakou when she said this morning that the dream has to be, not the dream, the focus has to be to change our cities in order to become more friendly for children. I am very fond of this idea, so I think that it cannot be a mistake if you plan a city for children. So I will show you the video that's prepared for children. The idea of meeting people. How bicycle can activate you and be more producing actually and achieve better results since it's good for mentality. The road safety is always important. It's the idea of communication, cycling together and meeting and enjoying the city and the environment. Thank you. If you have any questions about the form, I'll be here to answer them. And you can give it the forms back to me, or you can send it to the email of the project, or you can give it to the registration desk. Thank you for your attention. And vorrei invitarvi a Patrasso per la seconda conferenza di Cello Progetto il 27 novembre. Grazie.